Good afternoon. This is Dr. David back with another episode of Fresh Start with Dr. David. Welcome. Hi again. It is Monday, and this light keeps acting weird. But anyway, it is Monday, February the 24th, 2025, and I'm glad to be speaking with you today. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about how to reach your goals for the year, how to activate your New Year's resolutions, how to avoid realizing that it's September and you haven't gotten any of your goals for the year accomplished, and things like that. Of course, I would highly recommend, the best thing to do is to schedule an appointment in my office. You can also read articles and other things about some of the things that I talk about that are going to help you to keep your goals and ambitions for the year too on my website, which is www.a as in apple, h as in health, M as in mental, H as in health, W as in world or website.com. So that's www.ahmhw.com. And from there, you can request an appointment. You can get more information about the services that I provide. You can also check out the free articles and the free information on my websites. You can also find out more about ways to subscribe to the Fresh Start with Dr. David podcast, which is free, as I've mentioned earlier. So anyway, welcome back again. The last episode that I did, I think, was a really a good one. I think it was focused on the concept of your focal point, right? And how gratitude and appreciation can help you focus on getting more of what you already have and what you desire, instead of getting more of what you don't want and what you don't need and those kind of things. And so I talked a lot about the idea of focal point and how to use gratitude to change your attitude to change your altitude in life. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to check out that episode. So that was filmed last week, and it's very short. It's only 10 minutes. So my new approach for this year, change is what I recommend to people. And people say, well, do you demonstrate it yourself? And I say, yeah, I do. So I've changed kind of the format of the podcast, Fresh Start with Dr. David. Instead of having a lot of guests and doing 1 hour and 50-minute kind of episodes, I'm doing really short bit pieces that you can check out and listen to in a matter of 10 or 15 minutes, right? In between doing something else during your lunch, as you go to work, things like that. And so I hope that it will be a little bit more digestible, the information that I share, in bite-sized pieces instead of big, huge hunks. So that's part of my change for 2025. And I would inspire you to do that as well. If you try something and it's not working, or it's not getting the results that you want, or things like that, then try changing it in a way that makes sense. And because we live in sadly, in my opinion, an Instagram, TikTok, Facebook world these days, where people have kind of short attention spans and they're looking for tiny little bite-sized pieces, then that's kind of what you have to do to meet their needs. So anyway, welcome back. Today's topic, of course, like I said earlier, is about how to reach your New Year's goals and resolutions. And I have a special session that I do at my office that helps people do that. The regular price on that 90-minute to 2-hour session is $750. Right now, it's discounted by 66% off. You can't beat that. That's a huge sale. So instead of $750, it's discounted down to $250. And it's a system that I help create for you for the year, so you can reach your goals and resolutions and objectives and desires and all those kind of things. So you don't look up and it's December or November and you haven't gotten anything done. And so I would strongly recommend that you go to our website and request that, and I will honor the discount if you mention it. And like I said, it's 66% off. So you can't beat that, spending 2 hours with a professional helping them design a plan and a strategy to help you reach your goals all 12 months of the year. You just can't beat that for $250. So anyway, let me just talk a little bit about meeting your goals and resolutions. So ideally, what you would do is, if you have a goal, so if you realize, let's say it's September, or let's say it's October, or let's even say August, most of the year's over, and you realize there are a lot of your goals that you haven't reached. Well, what do? Well, You can do things to try to reach those goals for that year. But to me, you're better suited if you are, instead of focusing on the goals that you didn't reach for the year, that you get a jump start on the goals that you want to reach for the next year. So if by September or October or November or December of this year, instead of stressing yourself out in the last quarter, why don't you focus on jump starting the goals that you have for the next year in the right way so that they actually work out, instead of chasing things that have pretty much passed, right? And I always tell people that if you want to get things done in a year, you need to start getting them done in January, February, or March. If you go past March, it's really, really highly unlikely that you're going to get those things done. So you want to start reaching or grasping at or creating objectives, strategies, plans, things like that to reach your goals early in the year, right? Um, the early bird truly does get the worm, right? And it's less stressful if you start out that way. So now is still a good time. It's still early. It's still the first quarter. It's still an opportunity for you to do things to reach those goals for 2025 if they're truly things that you desire. It could be that some of the things that you think that you want, you really don't want badly enough. And in that case, it may be that you need some motivation, you need some drive, or you need to reconfigure what you want and how to get it. A lot of times people think they want things and they really don't. Some a small part of them wants it or used to want it, but not anymore. And people change over time. There are tons of things that I used to think that I desired that I really don't want anymore. And maybe I wanted them for the wrong reasons. Maybe I didn't really want them. Maybe other people convinced me that I wanted them. And that's the same is true for everybody. So I recommend that if you find yourself not reaching a goal over and over repeatedly, it could be the case that you don't really, really want to reach that goal. And maybe you need to reconfigure the goal, or you need to find a different goal, or discover the reasons why you're sabotaging or not meeting those goals, right? But let's talk about the one concept that I think would really, really serve a lot of people well. And that's the concept of doing a vision board. I recommend all my clients do a vision board every year. And the reason why is because we are visual creatures, right? More brain anatomy and surface area is dedicated towards the visual sense and other senses than any other senses combined. And I talk about that in my second self improvement book, Tomato Bisque for the Brain, which you can find on Amazon. But there's a chapter where I introduce, there's two chapters actually, where I talk about the visual systems and how we are visual creatures. And that's the reason why TikTok and Instagram and all these platforms that show you pictures and videos and images, that's why they're so successful, because we are wired to respond to those, right? We're also wired to respond to sounds and music and tones and frequencies and things like that, but also vision. So that's the greatest sense that we use. And consequently, if there's a disability with that sense compared to the other senses, that tends to be the one that most affects your ability to live in this world, because we live in a visual world. And then we live in a world that expects you to be able to see things in order to make choices and act and things like that. So you will be best served if you enunciate visually what you truly desire. And what I would recommend you do is, when you create your vision board, keep it small and start small. Start with the big picture. Don't list every single thing on your Christmas list on your vision board. You don't want to do that. That's a lot of pressure you're putting on yourself to get things accomplished. What I would recommend that you do instead is focus on 3, 4, 5 big things that you want for the year. You know, so, and what you want to do too is, after you created a vision board, you also want to create kind of a goal and strategies board where you talk about why you want to reach those particular goals and how you're going to do it, right? It's really, really important to try to tie your vision board to actually strategies and goals for obtaining those, right? And what you want to do is create due dates and deadlines so that they're not just in space, right? They actually have a location somewhere on your timeline for the year. You may not realize it, but you have a timeline. Just like there was a timeline in the OJ trial and every other kind of trial that goes by. You know, trials, I think, have made a big use to their advantage of timelines. We all probably know the word timeline from one of two things, one of two places. Either in history classes that you know took in school, where there was a timeline for historical events, right? History is a good way because there's so many facts and so much data that you use a timeline to simplify it and to make it easier to keep up with. And they did the same thing in the OJ trial because it was just so much drama and craziness and things like that. They created a timeline to help people keep track of it. But you have a timeline too, and it's really prudent and to your advantage to create a timeline for the year of how you want to get things done, what you want to get done, what you want to get done in January, what you want to start in February, what you want to start in March. And it's a good idea to space those things out so you don't feel overwhelmed. And you can come to my office. I can help you do that. But it's really, really important that you envision and see what it is that you desire, and that you also have goals and plans for those things with due dates so that they're not just sitting out in space, right? If you don't have a due date, that's kind of like saying you want to go somewhere and you don't know where it's located. Well, if you don't know where it's located on a map, then how do you get there? You need a location. And so a due date is kind of like a location for time management in terms of your personality, in terms of how you think, and in terms of the priorities that you set in life. So, anyway, with that, I'm going to conclude. I hope that you reach your goals, but just keep in mind your New Year's goals and resolutions are much, much tougher to achieve and complete and realize if you wait until after January, February, or March, or the first quarter to get those things done and to set them in motion. And with that, I close out. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye.